Join us and discover beautiful beaches, rugged landscapes, pretty towns, desolate mountain ranges that sweep down to stunning lakes, unique architecture, history and folklore, no shamrocks, no shillelaghs, and definitely no shenanigans, just naked Ireland. Today we're going to walk the length of O'Connell Street in Limerick City, a full mile in total. And we're starting our walk here just as we cross the Abbey River, which is a tributary of the mighty Shannon, and you can see it flowing into the Shannon here. There's a 38 metre high panoramic wheel located at Arthur's Quay Park, so if you'd like to see the city all at once, this is perhaps the answer. Just as we cross the bridge, we join O'Connell Street and pass the attractive cut stone building of the Hunt Museum. This building was Limerick's old custom house, and in 1996 this place opened as a museum to house the art collection of dealers and collectors Jack and Gertrude Hunt, who donated their collection. As we jump further down O'Connell Street, it's worth noting that you'll find O'Connell Streets in Dublin, Ennis and Sligo, all places that I've previously made films about. I even have a whole film dedicated to Dublin's O'Connell Street. And there are many other O'Connell Streets dotted around the country. Maybe if there's one near you that I haven't mentioned, you can pop it in the comments. The main street in North Adelaide in Australia is even named O'Connell Street. I wonder what nationality the people who made that decision were. Anyway, why O'Connell Street? Well, Daniel O'Connell was an important patriot in Irish history. He was a political leader in the first half of the 19th century, best known for securing Catholic emancipation in 1829, which essentially was a removal of many of the restrictions on Catholics in Ireland. He won a British parliamentary seat on 2 occasions. Dubbed the Liberator, he galvanised the support of Irish Catholics in a non-violent political movement. The street's the main thoroughfare of the city, as you can see, and consequently hosts some of the major retail outlets and department stores. Penny's, Debenhams, Brown Thomas. You can just see Debenhams up ahead on the right. And what you'll notice about this part of central Limerick is that it's laid out like a grid, in blocks, rather like an American city. And when you see a modern city layout like this, it's hard to believe that Limerick was founded by Vikings way back in 812. And there were settlements even before that. The earliest map of Ireland, from 150 AD, shows a place named Regina on the site now called King's Island. History also records an important battle here in 221, and a visit by St Patrick in 434. So this is all long before the Vikings sailed up the Shannon and pillaged the area, before being repelled by the Irish, who gave them a damn good thrashing, on that occasion anyway. It was then the Normans who were instrumental in remodelling the city in the 12th century. Their significant contributions were King John's Castle and St Mary's Cathedral, both of which I'll visit in future films. We've just passed the junction of William Street now, and this very 1960s looking building on the other side of the road is the famous Brown Thomas department store. You'll have heard me make reference to this retail outlet in my films on various other Irish cities. The Limerick one seems to be quite big. The city has a population of around 105,000, making it the 4th largest city in Ireland after Dublin, Belfast and Cork. It's located in the province of Munster, in the mid-west of Ireland, and lends its name to the county. Now, some of you might be familiar with the term Limerick in relation to the poetic form, and are wondering if there's a connection. The Limerick verse, which is often very raunchy and sometimes downright obscene, is thought to take its name from either Limerick Town or Limerick County, and may perhaps have a connection to the poets from this part of Ireland, but essentially the Limerick was popularised in England. Although given that the Limerick took the form of a drinking song, then it's hardly surprising that it has an Irish connection. If you're wondering what I'm talking about, here's an example of a Limerick, a clean one. There was a young fellow called Paul who went to a fancy dress ball. He thought he could risk it, dressed up as a biscuit, but a dog ate him up in the hall. Now I've just taken a slight diversion down Tedford Row to see this statue of a rather regal Richard Harris in the character of King Arthur. I'm certain that many of you won't know that Richard Harris was born in Limerick. Indeed, if you're a younger viewer to the channel, and I hope we have younger viewers, you may be asking yourself, who's Richard Harris? But there you go, peace, not war. Now that appears to make some sense. and on we go on our travels. The Limerick packs laughs anatomical, into space that's quite economical. But the good ones I've seen so seldom are clean, and the clean ones so seldom are comical. Now the church across the street there is St Augustine's. You'll notice that it has a very spectacular window above the entrance. This is best viewed, like all stained glass, from the inside. Apparently the evening time is best. If you look back from the altar, you'll see the light illuminating the panels. And those beautiful coloured buildings just next to the church are a perfect example of Limerick's Georgian architecture, and we'll see more of this as we progress up the street. Needless to say, in this part of the city you'll find a range of eateries and drinkeries. I realise that's a new word I've just made up. Limerick, of course, like all of Ireland's towns and cities, caters to the tourist trade, so if you want to eat, you'll find a vast array of restaurants along this central thoroughfare. Just looking around here at what you Americans would, I think, call an intersection, this place does have a feel of an American city. Viewers from the US will no doubt comment. Here's another one. A dozen, a gross and a score, plus 3 times the square root of 4, divided by 7, plus 5 times 11 is 9 squared and not a bit more. I'll leave that one for you mathematicians to ponder. Now that red brick building coming up on the other side of the road is interesting for you sports fans. This is the International Rugby Experience. Now some of you will probably be aware that rugby is a big thing in Ireland. In fact, it's something that we're rather good at. This place describes itself as a fully immersive experience designed to engage and inspire. So if you're a rugby fan, you won't want to miss this. Another sport synonymous with Ireland is hurling. And this statue opposite the International Rugby Experience celebrates both sports simultaneously. It's called Ruck and Puck, and the sculptor is a northerner, Robin Buick from Ballymena in County Antrim. We're now at the intersection of Cecil Street. Listen to me, intersection. I've come over all American. It is of course a crossroads. In the 16th and 17th centuries, Limerick was known as the most beautiful city in Ireland. It's still a beautiful city, but I think it lacks a bit of the prestige of other cities because it isn't directly on the coast. But situated at the mouth of the Shannon, it's certainly in a very scenic location. And it's another place in Ireland where you can see good examples of Georgian buildings like these grand buildings. Despite this elegance, the city has a past steeped in conflict. It was besieged in 1651 by Oliver Cromwell, an historic figure not particularly admired in Ireland, and besieged again in the Williamite Wars, twice in the 1690s. The city has a motto, which I'll try and pronounce in Latin, Urbs Antica fuit studesque asperima belli, an ancient city well studied in the arts of war. Really sorry to all you Latin scholars out there. Now the Treaty of Limerick, signed at the end of the Williamite Wars, was a landmark moment in Irish history. The treaty was supposed to offer tolerance and full legal rights to Catholics if they swore an oath to Mary and William. In the end, it wasn't the case. This sealed Ireland's fate to be dominated by British and Protestant influence for some time to come. However, the period which followed was more peaceful and more prosperous, for some at least, and this is why we can still see such Georgian splendour in Limerick today. Now here's a horrible fact. Limerick waged a boycott on its small Jewish community in the early part of the 20th century. Jews were attacked and many were forced to leave the city. A Redemptorist priest called Father John Craig was behind the persecution. A shameful and shocking occurrence, particularly when we think about what was to unfold in Europe in the decades that followed. Now this part of O'Connell Street is particularly rich in Georgian architecture, as you can see. We could be in Leeson Street in Dublin, or indeed in the heart of London. Now this is a great place for me to ask you to give the film a like if it's been interesting or entertaining. And please think about subscribing to the channel, it helps so much. Many regular Naked Ireland devotees watch the films but for some reason don't subscribe. But if I could convince you to hit the big red button, it would be so great. And if you hit the bell icon too, you'll get a reminder when I publish a new video. Now who wouldn't want that? And finally, if you're feeling really benevolent, you can donate by buying me a pint. Check out the link in the second paragraph of the description below the video. It's really easy to do, but obviously only if it's something you can afford. We're now going to end this video up at the O'Connell Monument. Unfortunately, there's some construction work going on around the monument, but we'll try and not let that spoil our enjoyment too much. Now you might be thinking, Limerick will be nice when it's finished. But I really must finish this walk. I've anyway run out of talk, but if you like this city, then it's really a pity you're in Boston or even New York. See you in the next Naked Ireland video.